Patagonia.
You ways be miserable.
One of the previous expeditions said, rely on snow caves, take a large library and don't invite me. I'm beginning to agree with them.
Joe and I have seen a few storms over the years, but Patagonia is something else. We've been having adventures together since we met at university 20 odd years ago. Then it seemed much more important to teach ourselves to kayak and climb than it did to go to lectures. But we've both managed to pass, and since then I've been working in education, while Joe patches people up as a doctor in the emergency department. Since those early days, we've been heading off on small expeditions to the remote mountains of the world. Just the two of us usually, and just for the fun of it. In Patagonia, we were looking for a grand adventure. Something about the journey as much as the climbing objective. In 2001, from the comfy seat in a plane, we spied a sexy looking rock tower in the middle of the northern Patagonian ice cap. And in a moment of delusion, we decided to try and climb it. Getting to it was the problem. We needed to walk in up the Leonis Valley, kayak across a lake, and then lug our gear for 1,000 metres up to the glacier above. Once on the snow, we'd turn our boats into sleds and ski south into the middle of the ice cap to climb our tower. Once done with that, we wanted to explore our way off the ice cap via glaciers in the southeastern corner, before kayaking down the rivers to the sea. It sounded so easy in the plane.
Camp 1. We've actually come about 200 metres from the end of the road. So it feels like we've made a start, but it's not a very big start.
The grand plan meant carrying skiing, kayaking and rock and alpine climbing gear, as well as food and fuel for 34 days. With about 90 kgs each, we didn't go anywhere fast. Every day we can't drag the kayaks as sleds, we need to carry 4 loads each. So for every 1 kilometre we moved, we had to cover 7. Patagonia had plenty of time to soften us up with a good dose of its infamous wind and incessant rain.
Some stuff to here.
Ooh, yep, gear's still here.
Last load.
Nice job. Another beautiful Patagonian grey sky day. Spitting, bit of wind. Enough of a day to make you wish or glad that you're not on the ice cap currently. Day 5.
And we've got, what, about 6 k's up the valley?
Yep. But we are at the lake.
Actually, we're sitting here looking at the lake, and the lake is this 10k stretch of white cap tossed water, big sheer cliffs on all sides, and we're thinking 10 k's of headwinds at about 25 knots, sounding distinctly unpleasant. So we're even impossible. All the stuff we have. So
We don't do unpleasant. So yes, progress is slow. Long way to go to the edge of the ice cap, but hopefully we'll get there eventually. Brew.
Getting there.
Well, after a day and a half of sitting around here under this troglodytic rock, we finally made a call to try and get on the lake and get a load paddled up the lake to the other end. And we were just in the process of packing up and getting all the boats down to the lake, and the old nor'west kicked in big time on the lake. We thought it had been rough before, but it whipped up a maelstrom. So we're back under our rock, still kind of drizzling a little bit. Just about time for another cup of tea, I suspect. And thank our lucky stars we weren't half an hour earlier. We probably would have ended up back over this rock, but still seated in our boats. After a couple of false starts, we could finally get on the lake. We needed 2 days to get us and our gear to the other end before we could start carrying up to the ice cap. This really felt like the start of our adventure. The boats were packed to the gunnels and we were finally paddling off into the mountains.
Our first touch of the Northern Patagonian ice cap. Certainly my boat's first touch. Not quite sure what's going on. I guess it'll have to get used to this. Bit of a battle into the wind today. Weather's still looking pretty grotty up on the ice cap. There's big hogsbacks still over the mountains. Don't really know if it ever clears here up on the ice cap, but we've had a little bit of sun, which has been nice. Pretty nice place to be paddling. Feels like a good adventure.
It's been a good day. We've just done a big paddle up the end of the lake. It's about 18 odd k's return, which is a long way when you're in a little boat, heavily laden with gear. Into a stiff headwind and with sheer cliffs on either side.
Wind's died right down. Western end of Lago Leonis. Now we're heading back for a cup of tea and a lie down, I think. It's quite chilly, especially on the hands. What a backdrop though. I don't know if you can see behind me.
Fairly spectacular part of the world. There's really there'd be no way of walking up that lake. The sides just drop sheer into the water with numerous bluffs and waterfalls. I think you'd take months to try and get around the lake, so it's either boat or boat. But once you get there, you're right up by the towering falling seracs of the glacier as it empties straight into the lake. Quite an amazing scene. Very, very big scale. The glaciers are big, the mountains are big. It all feels reasonably intimidating. And this is the first easy section, so goodness knows what it's going to be like so further up the valley as we try and gain some height.
Getting seasick yet? Well, here we go. After getting stymied yesterday by the wind, we finally walked into the lake. From this end, hopefully for the last time. And heading up to the northwestern end. And then from there up onto the ice cap. That's the plan. It's pretty cold again. And grey and rainy, as we've come to expect. Alright.
Well, here we go at Camp 4. We've finally reached the western end of the lake, and we've got an absolutely stunning little campsite. Discovered this little lean-to here that's obviously used by some adventure tourism outfit who brings hardy-minded tourists up here for a little bit of a poke around up the valley. Suits us very well. So all in all, a very nice spot to be, and pretty exciting because now we've got the lake out of the way, we can start lugging loads up towards the ice cap. The next few days are poking our nose up the valley behind us here and scoping out a route up onto a little glacier that feeds onto the main ice cap between a couple of little peaks, or a couple of big peaks actually, on this eastern edge. Wow, Completely missed this huge valley up there.
There's a big glacier up there.
That's pretty funny. We missed the ice cap. We turned left too soon.
Ah, gee, it's a big country, isn't it? You'd hardly guess that there's an entire glacier heading up that valley.
It's an incredible country. Above the lake, it was up for about 1,000 metres through the beech forest to the glacier, which should allow us access to the ice cap. We were back to 4 loads, and with the weather, it was all taking a bit longer than we'd hoped. Must have been a bit of flat beach. Beautiful. So has your beard gone through the itchy stage yet, Joe? It's past, really? Chewable. Legs are starting to feel that now. Oh well, hopefully the last 400 metres of the boats, well, the last 400 metres to the next camp anyway. There's a few thousand metres beyond that. You wouldn't want to totter off to the side, would you?
After weeks of dragging these boats on and off aircraft, buses, vans, taxis, not to mention 2 weeks of dragging them up a valley floor and up to here, we think we're probably the first people to paddle this particular little lake, which just makes it all worthwhile.
Day 15, another pit day, listening to the rain, going slightly stir crazy. We've got a very, very limited supply of reading material. One book got really beaten up last night. Just after dinner the wind cranked right up, and neither of us slept a wink all night, wondering if the tent was going to blow away. It's amazing, you'd hear these roaring freight train coming down the circuit behind us, and then it would just hit this tent like a hammer, and the tent would thrash like a crazy thing. You'd wonder whether it's going to blow off down the hill. Kind of going over in your head where your boots are and where your windsuit is, and hoping the tent stays together. It's a good reminder of what the weather can do you. Certainly in the dark, that sort of wind makes you feel pretty fragile. Hopefully it won't do that again tonight. So we're sitting here a little bit like stunned Mises at the moment. It's another very, very gusty night. Gusts pouring down off the bluffs above us and collapsing the tent, and we've had a bit of a structural failure on one of the guys, which meant that I basically got rolled into the middle of the tent, and this end, the corner of the tent started lifting off. So Joe raced out into the storm and seems to have patched it up for the meantime, but we're pretty much set, ready to go. We've got little grab bags of gear and we're all suited up just in case the whole thing does go. It's quite scary at this time of night. It's 1:15 in the morning.
Always seems to happen the wee small hours of the morning for some reason. You can hear the gusts approaching like a freight train. It's not so bad. I've got those tied down with ice axe. If it pulls the ice axe out, it'll take it straight through the side of the tent.
Good. Well, we've survived the night, and it's obviously the next morning, the sun's come up, but we sustained quite a lot of damage in the night. We're out in the storm for a fair bit of it, trying to nurse the tent through, and we've sustained a bit of damage. So we're going to beat a retreat down, back down into the bush and down to the shelter by the lake, where we can hopefully repair the damage to the tent and then reevaluate.
Gunner rope's gone, isn't it?
I think so. Feels a bit like going backwards, but I think if we stay here, this tent's going to disintegrate around us, and then it'll all be over. So I think we're going to get out in the rain and try and forestall the storm. What do you reckon, Joe?
Time to go. Give me a route, I think, rather than a retreat.
Alright, let's go.
We lost our window.
We lost what?
We lost our window.
Yeah, just about lost our tent. Back at Camp 4 down by the lake, having scampered down from Camp 5 in the rain with our tail between our legs.
Just get stuff dry, including ourselves. It's rather depressing to be in the mountains in the rain. The story of the last couple of weeks though. Last night was a bit scary actually. It was I don't know how fast it would have been, but it certainly was difficult to stand up straight in the gusts, so I'm picking up some in the vicinity of 50 knots. It's getting pretty fast. And it really felt as if the tent was about to explode, or as it was actually lifting, and it lifted Sean completely off the ground at one point. Because boy, it's pretty sobering to have such a scary night, only about 200 metres above the bush line. It's going to be a different story if we're out in the middle of the plateau and something like that happens. I suspect that would be truly terrifying.
Oh well, here we are again, back at the nearly the same altitude as the last high camp.
5B.
Camp 5B. Yeah, and we're a little morose, or I certainly am. I'm Mr. Grumpy at the moment. We spent the morning kind of packing up. Joe finished off fixing the tent, and we were just doing a little bit of a burn of some burnable rubbish, and I bent over to snap a thing of firewood and my back went. I just couldn't believe it. I thought at the start it was just going to be a little minor tweak, but kind of slowly developed. Incredibly frustrating. I was just about shedding tears of frustration down at the bottom of the hill. Been in nearly 3 weeks of crap weather, waiting for our opportunity, and the opportunity comes and my back goes out. Just couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it, really. Got 14 days of the expedition left in terms of food and fuel. Back's still not right, so I'm lying around here in a codeine haze. And then yesterday I got it to the stage where I thought a walk would be really good for it, so Joe carried a couple of loads up to the edge of the glacier and I potted along behind him in the fine weather of the afternoon. And then I woke up again this morning and back was really tight again. But at the moment we've got 14 days left. We're still hoping to do a traverse from here, probably down to the top of the Neff Glacier and off down the Rio Soler Valley. So if my back comes right and then the weather cooperates a little bit, we can do that in probably 10 days. Big if though. At the moment it feels like, yeah, things are stacked against us, but there you go. It's the emotional roller coaster of an expedition. After 5 days of frustration and codeine, I could move enough again to start doing some work. Time and the weather were against us, and moving forward again is a joy. It was a short haul to a camp at the edge of the glacier where Joe had stashed the gear from his earlier carries. And then finally after 23 days we got to stick all that stuff in the boats and drag them in one load. It felt incredible. Probably about the limit of what we're going to drag these boats on in terms of steepness. Feels good to be moving in one load on the glacier, dragging boats like we were going to do from the start. That's pretty exciting. And it's pretty sunny right above us. It's really locked into a pattern of rain in the morning, backed off to the kind of passes on that eastern edge of the ice cap in the afternoon, and sunny if you're just slightly to the east of that.
We got up to the pass. I think we have. It suddenly gets steeper at about this point. We can't see it. It's shrouded in a very fast-moving horizontal cold murk. We've got a pretty secure little tent site here. We've dug down about 4 feet. We've got about a 4-foot wall of snow surrounding it. So it's feeling reasonably secure. As secure as you can feel sort of with the wind you get round here, and fairly close to a steep slope which we think is unlikely to avalanche. So I think it's just going to be another day of lying in bed.
I'm sure that's yours.
No, those are all yours. One down the ends are mine.
I know, they're the smelly ones.
Are they? Maybe it's the other end.
The dank, rank, smelly ones.
No, that sounds much more like yours.
Well, the washing's drying nicely. We can't really move from here because we've got a really steep icefall to get through before we can go anywhere else. So we'll just see if we get the weather to do that. If we don't get it today or tomorrow, I suspect that's pretty much us toasted because we're running out of time really. So
Sean, what's on your mind?
Oh, well, I need to go outside for matters of a bathroomy kind of nature.
That just go in a bottle?
The pee bottle only goes so far.
Oh.
And I can't aim that well with number 2s.
Still here, Sean?
What if I get out there and get stage fright? Oh, I'll slowly, my windsuit will slowly fill with spindrift. Oh, it's so nasty out there. I don't want to go. I don't know. Don't make me go. I'm just going outside. Maybe sometime. Oh, God.
We're getting near the top of the col. This is the col that leads from the Access Glacier up onto the northern Patagonia Ice Plateau proper. Pretty awful day with every promise of getting worse rapidly. So we're doing a lightweight foray. We've just basically got the clothes we're standing in plus a bit of ice gear. We're making our way up through the ice form to try and find a safe route for the boats. That's assuming the weather allows us in the next day or two. Looks like the pass is actually pretty close. I'm seeing it maybe only another 100 metres off. Certainly that's where the wind gusts seem to be coming from. So I suspect the first glance of the NPI is going to be full force in the face at about 50 knots.
As it usually is, I suspect.
It usually is. Welcome.
The recce had shown us a way through the maze of crevasses on the headwall, and we just needed the weather to give it a go. It was too steep to drag the sleds up there, so we had to haul the boats up pitch by pitch. It took a full day's work, and we were running out of days. We'd given up on getting to the tower, but would have been gutted if we hadn't even got to the ice cap. Well, here we go. We're about 250 metres up the head wall, leading up onto the MPI. We've got an unbelievable day. It's fine and cleared for us. There's no high cloud. It's relatively calm. Feels like a beautiful alpine day. It's an early Christmas present for us. And we're really amongst it up here, hauling the boats up pitch by pitch. We're about 4 pitches up now, 240 metres or so. And we've got a bit of a tricky traverse across here to Joe, and then over a couple of big slots, and then up final couple of 100 metres of slopes to the pass. Unbelievable to be finally on this. We've pretty much given it up really, but it feels great to be making some progress. Well, it's taken us about 8-9 hours, and we're pretty shattered actually, but it's all worth it when you get up here, and it's an incredibly beautiful evening.
It's funny, we just asked ourselves this morning when this place ever stops blowing. You never seem to get a combination of blue sky and less than 50 knots. But today's just been superlative.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Porridge o'clock.
Porridge o'clock. We love porridge. On Christmas Eve, looking out the door, it's another beautiful day. Unbelievable. Patagonia's turned it on for us. Yesterday we had a pretty amazing day of industrial mountaineering.
You had a bit of a brown pants moment yesterday, didn't you?
I did have a brown pants moment yesterday. I nearly got hauled down a crevasse with a boat, which would have been an ignominious end.
Yes.
So we got to the col last night right on sunset. It was beautiful up there. Staggered back down here to camp, and every little gust of wind last night we were both wondering whether the weather was turning or what was going on, but looking out there this morning it looks still pretty good. There's a little bit of high cloud but not much. Amazing really, because 2 days ago the idea of the long north-south traverse that we'd originally wanted to do, or getting to the Lost Tower, we just didn't have the time to do that. It's remained lost. And switched our attentions to a much shorter traverse down to the Neff Glacier, which we thought would be doable, but the weather's just consistently been raining and storming from the northwest, and yeah, we'd pretty much given up on that as well. And a couple of days ago we had a long discussion about heading down, and we decided out of sheer bloody mindedness to stay up and see out the last, just to ensure that we didn't miss the opportunity right at the end.
Well, bloody minded us. I mean, it was really, I think if we'd gone home and not stayed until the last moment, we would have been pretty angry with ourselves. I think we were saving our peace of mind, really.
Yeah, we were.
Right. Let's head that way, towards a big white space.
Yeah.
Go.
With the last minute louts. Every expedition we seem to get close to what we want to do at the last minute. This one's no exception. Although we're doing a slightly shorter trip than we had originally planned, but incredible to be out here.
And we'll also look a bit pathetic.
Fairly going here in line dancing. Camp 9 on the eastern side of the ice cap. There's a pretty ominous looking sky behind it. That's where we need to go, down there, which is the top of the Neff Glacier. That's where safety lies. And we're hoping to get there tomorrow. It's Christmas! Yoo-hoo!
Oh, that's beautiful.
Happy Christmas,
Happy
Joey.
Christmas.
Yesterday we skied.
That'll do. Enough now.
It's taken us 28 days to do the first 10 kilometres, and then yesterday we skied 20 kilometres. Had a fantastic day. So here we are, it's day 29, and we're on the plateau. And we made the call to camp here, rather than skiing for 30 kilometres and getting off yesterday. And last night it looked like we'd bitterly regretted it, because there was this glowering sky and big hogsbacks, and
It's been about 3 hours making our protective wall double thickness and twice as high.
and then cowered in our sleeping bags. But it looks like it's held off, so we're going to head for the exit. So it's been a pretty short-lived affair on the ice cap, but we've got just enough food to get down to the road, which will be 5 or 6 days worth. And then she's all over Red Rover. In the meantime, it's Christmas.
Beautiful.
What a Christmas present. We were worried about the weather last night. Got up this morning and it's mint again on the northern Patagonian ice cap. Nice tie.
This is just mind-boggling.
What a place.
What a day.
What a day.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
What a good present. Thank you, fate.
What a good present. Unbelievable. Don't fall off, Joe.
Break out the vodka.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Champagne and peach schnapps, anyone? Amazing. Yoo-hoo! So this is the keyhole exit on the Neff Glacier, and hopefully it's our route down to the valley. Westerly wind's starting to build, and we're about to run out of food in the next, well, probably shorter than it'll take us to get down the valley, so time for us to go. And hopefully this is our road home. So the end of the ice field for us, come off the glacier and on to rock. Yoo-hoo! It's been beached. It's been 8 days since we touched rock, so it's pretty nice to get back to terra firma. The end of the ice cap. It was good in the end, but it took a long time to get there.
Luxury, this is beautiful. Still morning, sunshine, dry ground, rock to put your back against. It's all very pleasant. Today's plan, we've got to get down this valley. It's quite steep, quite rocky. We've certainly got at least 3 loads to carry, and that'll get us down to the river, which from here looks kayakable. And we've got about 40 k's of whitewater kayaking and sea kayaking on Lake Lago Bertrand to get to our destination point, which we're estimating will take about 5 days, which is good, because that's about exactly how much food and fuel we have. So any longer than that, and we're going to be going hungry.
Leaving the glacier, first carry down to the Solar Valley. Pretty much anywhere we have to walk, it's going to be 3 carries, and hopefully we're going to be able to float some of that river, where we can get picked up and delivered somewhere where they have coffee and wine.
gentle pitter-patter sound is the sound of rain on the tent roof, which is familiar. It means the fine spell has finally broken. I think 4 days was certainly more than we deserved or expected. So it's back to trudging in the rain. Pretty tired and boozed and battered yesterday after the last 4 days, I guess. So we, with the sound of rain, we sort of turned off the alarm and sort of had a bit of a much deserved sleep, and we're sort of feeling a bit sort of sunburnt and bruised and sore legs and all that usual type of achiness. So now we're sort of thinking really what's involved getting down the valley, and we know that comes a point about 8 k's further down that another major river flows in, and the river flats are pretty flat, so it should be good kayaking. But up until then it still looks pretty steep, and there's not as much volume in the river as we're perhaps hoping. So I suspect we're going to have to be walking that 8 k's, which doesn't sound much, except that we've still got 3 loads, and so 3 loads times 8 k's and returning equals 40 k's, which is a fair distance on rough terrain.
In the rain.
Yes. Yeah, well, I guess we're going to have to do it. Oh, we're out of milk powder. And sugar.
And sugar.
And coffee.
And coffee.
And complan.
Oh
I've
God.
got about 4 tea bags left. Ah, yuck, the fly just absolutely exploded.
4 tea bags for 4 days. Well, the boats are looking more at home and the skis are looking less at home all of a sudden.
What have we got to put on today? I think today feels like a windsuit while paddling day. This latest line in paddling gear. Multi-purpose. This season's colours. Fantastic. Now the important thing about low water, droppy mountain kayaking is not to have too much crap in your boat so you can get out easily, and certainly not to have too much stuff on the deck that might potentially get caught. With the ice axes tucked under the seat just in case.
Do you think you can get in there, Joe?
Have a look. You might need to give me a push. Yep, get in.
Well, you fit it in.
Fit it in.
You think you can get out?
Yeah, can you give me a hand? Hey, floats!
Well, the river has been incredibly gentle so far and shallow, but non-technical, which is probably just as well given the type of boats we're in and the degree to which they're loaded up and the kind of hybrid kayaking mountaineering gear we've got. We're certainly not set up for difficult kayaking. But this is really a beautiful way to travel out of the mountains. Real sense of journey. Crossing the ice cap, paddling down one of the rivers. Well, we've been down and scouted the gorge and it looks completely unrunnable by anybody, let alone us in these boats with this load. So that makes the decision easy. We're just going to cruise down to this beach next beach and then get out and we'll drag the boats through the gorge and resume our journey down the river on the other side of the gorge.
What a good trip. The first little while was pretty bouncy, but after that we're on a pretty big river once we joined the confluence. And it was just steady going all the way with a few hooty little boating bits. It was nice. So tomorrow, barring hurricanes and headwinds, we should be in civilization. Nice.
Yesterday we paddled 25k down the Rio Soler, which started out as a little trickle and built to a pretty big river that's rolling past the tent just out here. And that's a pretty nice feeling, journeying down the river and watching it getting bigger and the landscape floating past. Just out the tent here it joins Lago Plomo, which is a big old lake which rolls down and then becomes Lago Bertrand, which is a very big lake. And we paddle down a little arm of that towards the Rio Baker and then get out at Porto Bertrand. That's the end of the trip. Mixed feelings about finishing up, but mostly good. It's time to have a wash. Do all the things that you do in civilization. Well, here we are in Lago Plomo. We've only got 16 odd K to go to Porto Bertrand. Life is good. Last day.
We're down to the last few kilometres, and like any expedition, it's with mixed emotions that we think about finishing. It's been an incredible journey with more highs and lows than most. In one sense, it's been frustrating to spend so much time waiting for weather and health and not even get close to our tower. But on the other hand, it's that frustration that makes those few days on the ice cap even sweeter. It's been an amazing 34 days travelling through this incredible land. What a wonderful journey.
How are you feeling about finishing?
Mix. It'll be lovely. Food, so explore on down that valley. It's just to keep on going at the moment, that's
Yeah. However, shower and a comfy bed would be nice.
yes.
Let's go there.
Luxury! Always my best in the mornings. Morning person, me.
Check it out!
You want latte?
Oh, you don't even have to melt it! I like it a lot. Oh, I like how it's cooking down. Oh well, dry land.